Very happy because I think every time you watch a film, you learn something new. And today I learned that they related to different points in the film at different times, and that's always been something that I take notes on. So I'm very excited, I'm very happy, and I'm filled with gratitude that I could be at this very beautiful and important festival with this film. So, yeah. An athlete a few years ago, right? I've had children since then. I've written a book which was optioned to become a film. And I started comedy during COVID because we were not able to congregate safely as a film crew and make films. And engineering has always paid the bills. It's my steady job. So for me, when it comes to filmmaking, I think the stand-up helps a lot in directing actors or finding the performance or even finding the story sometimes. The athletics helps because I had to endure the Indian summer to get this film made. It was 21 days and 43 to 45 degrees Celsius with no water and no bathrooms. And it was very challenging physically. So I think I was a little bit prepared from maybe endurance training. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And I think being an engineer helps me be objective about my work of art. I think you sometimes need to switch hats a little bit because you can't always dwell in the maybe or the I don't know. At some point, you have to be decisive, and I think being objective a little bit in those points of doubt or rethinking has helped me, from my engineering days. So, and that's how it's come together, roughly. I don't know. Yeah. The iPhone was actually quite nice to use because it's a very nimble gadget, if you will, and you don't have to worry too much about switching lenses or missing the moment. That being said, I think I started in film wanting to be a cinematographer. So it was for me also a nice exercise to go and see what we would find in the frame, because documentary as an art form is so improvisational. You need to be able to react to the day and the situation and the circumstance. So for me, it was a very nice problem to have. And yeah, just because the rig is small, you can absolutely do so much more with it in a film like this. So yeah. I think a film has two parts, right? It has the story and then it has the visual metaphors or the visual grammar, if you will. And so in this case, we had to convey a sense of scale of India, which is very hard to do very easily. And also not shy away from the more intimate moments, of dancing with plastic puppets if I had to. So I think there was definitely a grammar in my head that I thought about, and it was not. I mean, to be very honest with you, because I said, it is improvisational, I definitely had to decide when to do what. But that being said, I think I had a fairly good idea before we started to shoot about what it would look like, for sure. There were 10 hours of material, so there is no way I found it in the shoot, and there was no way I could have written it. When I say I knew what it would look like, I meant the visual grammar of the film. I knew what that was, but I absolutely was not prepared to tell this particular story when I started to shoot. And definitely it has been rewritten 4 times in the edit, and so that's how I found the shape of the film. And I think as a writer, documentary can be very freeing. It can be a very beautiful art form because it gives you a lot of space to play. And so we played a lot, and I don't think I started with a fixed idea and ended with a fixed idea at all. And that gave me room to sort of think about, hey, how can I say this with less words, or how can I say this with more of the place, or evoke the child's point of view in memory and the adult's point of view in imagination, that kind of thing. So that's, I don't know if people observe that, but there are 2 points of view in the film. Yeah. The Chris Markers of the world, or the even Chantal Ackerman's films, but although hers were very long takes, like there would be a 3.5 minute take, which Tamilians don't have the patience for. So I was, so it was basically I find visual references from fiction more than non-fiction. So I think if you it would be a combination of old Tamil films. It would be a little bit of Kubrick because he puts you through the field.
Yes.
You can touch and feel. It would be a lot of really great Hindi films, even from the modern age, which are made on very small budgets but are technically very competent. These live on Netflix. Most people haven't heard of them, but I think to animate a frame, it's a job in and of itself, and you have to find a way so that it also stays true to the story. And in this case, it's an epistolary form. So my references were more in fiction and in Tamil film, because I'm my mother tongue is Tamil, so I dream in Tamil, and my film is also very Tamil. It's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, it cannot be like somebody else's film.
Yeah.
It had to very much be its own living, breathing thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
I-
They do. They do. They're very intelligent. They're good cast also. They don't ask for extra pay. If you have to do 2 takes, they're like, okay. No, but it was just towards the end, when we were writing the credits, our children were in the room, okay? And they were like, no, you have to name all the animals. So, it was just because all three producers have children. I have 2 kids. My producers have 3 and 2 each, so it was basically our kids fooling around, and for good purpose, because I think everybody should be named at the end. So thinking about this a lot, I think personal stories are very political. The political always starts with the personal. If you look at the greatest novelists of our time or the greatest filmmakers of our time, they find truth in their own lives, when they write films or stories or whatever the case may be. So when it came to what I expected people to take away, I had no expectation. I was making it with a sense of, is this a film? Is there a visual story? And are there universal truths for women and men, especially in this age where everyone is busy? The register of the world is lost, it's grief. We have lost a way of life. We have new technologies threatening us every day. We have climate propagandists telling us everything is okay. So who do you trust? Do you trust the artists or do you trust the engineers? We don't have a good answer to that. And so I think in this age of feeling more and more removed from life as is, for me, the bigger question was, is this a film? And definitely the answer was yes when we finished it. But I didn't know until 2 weeks ago. So, so yeah. I had no expectations. I still don't. Because every time I walk into a room, I learn something new, because it depends on the audience on that particular day, So, yeah.